Hello and welcome to episode 5, I think, or 6 of the Steven Universe Audiolog 5. This week we're discussing Frybo, an episode that very quickly, to sort of recap, Steven has lost his trousers, and basically Pearl is looking for a very important shard of gem that can bring fabric things to life. Suddenly his trousers are noticed walking around the house on their own, to which Steven responds, "That's unusual!" And chaos ensues because he manages to get the gem and he's on his way to taking it back to Pearl, who's looking for it, when he meets oh god, the kid's name's just escaped me.
Frybo,
Petey, essentially. Petey. Well, Petey is the son of the guy that runs the chip shop, and he basically. Sorry, it's a very British term, like chip shop, but the place where he gets his fries and his fry bits from. I love that family all have the same fry-looking hair, and it's their hair. It's brilliant. Yeah. A great design choice. Anyway, Petey wants to be part of the family business, but he's been relegated to being like a mascot outside, attracting attention. Steven decides the way to get him out of that so he can go enjoy being a kid again is to put the gem in the costume, which brings it to life. It at first is doing their commands, but then takes the make everyone eat chips thing, or fries, a bit too seriously. And then it's chaos from there, and it becomes save the town from this sort of monster they've created called Frybo. I'm going to do what I usually do, Chris, and just straight away, my curiosity has got the better of me. I want to know what you thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, and clarification.
Yeah,
I'm coughing because I'm not feeling very well. And when you're not feeling well, an episode about an animated Fry costume. It sends you to some pretty weird places. It's a pretty weird episode. But I thought the animation was very, very good. Fantastic, in fact. I thought like the evil costume was genuinely quite freaky.
Yes.
I felt it was actually as well very, very funny. The little lines between Pearl and Steven, the kind of that's unusual stuff. I mean, like you say, by the time the Fryboy costumes come to life, it's a bit like chaos ensues. I mean, it is literally that.
Yeah,
but you know,
I mean,
that's the point of the show, and you got to mix it up between villains and just them walking around a house and stuff. So the more heartfelt stuff. So I imagine this is like a bog standard episode involving a monster at least. There's some food involved.
Yeah,
there's some funnies.
Is currently the theme.
At least the first 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes, actually, I will say as well, were more relevant to the rest of the episode than they have been previously.
Yeah, you'd noticed that, hadn't you? You'd noticed a trend of like the first minute or two of the episode seeming really separate to everything else. Like in the Cheeseburger Backpack one, you commented that he spent a lot of time talking to Jamie the postman before the actual episode started.
Yeah, and I just thought that was really odd. Actually, I didn't finish it like, give me more. But as an episode of an animated show about monsters, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I really liked that they try, like, what you'll notice as the show goes on is they've clearly thought a lot of stuff through well ahead of time. Like, if you go back and watch this episode, having seen, like, multiple series, as I have done, I'm up to the most recent episodes. It's cool because those people in the shop that Frybo is forcing fries upon are all people who have become characters later on, like, and get storylines of their own. They all get storylines. The town is populated with people that keep recurring, and you will have noticed, for example, one of the people was Lars, the boy that works at the donut shop from the first episode. You might not have noticed because you only saw him for a few minutes in the very first episode, but he's in the shop with Steven when he's discovering that cookie cats are no longer on sale, but he was one of the characters as well, being fries forced upon him, and he's the one that gets thrown into the table and then runs away. So like, and all the other characters are like,
well, even returning to the fry shop isn't something you'd usually see 5 episodes in to an animated show. Do you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't. I don't think The Simpsons return. Well, I suppose you've got things like the Quickie Mark and stuff.
I was gonna say yes. The Simpsons is like the one show, the other like animated show that's really made a good effort at making like a world and a town that like has recurring people. I mean, other shows have copied it since, and to varying degrees of success. Family Guy did okay with it. South Park's done a really good job of keeping its continuity for that, actually, I will say as well. But it is cool. Those are usually like the more adult aimed animated shows. It's interesting to see a kids show that's keeping that sort of consistency.
I don't remember the Powerpuff Girls ever returning, or anything like that. But I suppose it's weird because my concept of kids animation is stuck 15 years ago.
Yes, Whereas I think through all sorts of weird means, I've ended up watching a lot of like animated shows aimed at kids since then, and they are certainly there is a lot more depth to the current sort of flock and sort of kids shows, and you'll discover. I think this show is a great example of how it can be both, because this show starts like pure, unadulterated kids show fun, and then just goes to some really messed up and dark places and some emotional places.
Do you think kids are noticing it though?
I'd hope so, because there's some really good messages in this show. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but there's an episode that aired more recently called, I think, Mindful Education, and it is a beautiful episode with a really genuinely important message for young people to hear.
Yeah, well, I think this does as well.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, actually.
Like, it's a message of, don't try and force someone into something they don't want to do, and be honest and tell the truth. Always know where your pants are.
Yeah.
And importantly, getting naked in the street can sometimes help defeat the villain.
I don't say that, because now,
in my experience, it's just got me arrested. But
I was just gonna say, kids take that message away from it. There's some like criminal like chasing them down the street. They just take off their clothes. It's the wrong message to give kids.
I didn't mean it like you've taken it to a place I didn't think of. I apologize.
On
behalf of you and me.
You literally said, kids, if you're being chased by monsters, taking your clothes off solves your problems.
Yeah, but monsters, I didn't say criminals.
Yeah, but monsters, I think there's a line there, Chris. There's an A to B that you can follow. Anyway, changing topic very drastically. You're right. I think there is a good message here, because it's about because he's not being honest with his dad that he doesn't want to do Frybo, and his dad is not really like paid attention to his son, and that his son isn't really enjoying that role, and it's about communicating with each other a little bit. And I think the thing for me is it's less evident that the show is doing that sort of stuff here, because it's not as focused on. It's like a theme in the background. You got to look a little for it. It's not like in your face. Whereas some of the stuff the show does later on is very focused around messages and
is that partly to do with Stephen maturing?
I think to a degree, yes. I think by default, I think when you make a character start to grow older, he has to start questioning things and behaviors and thinking about stuff in a more sort of thoughtful way, as people do as they age, as they mature. So I think, yeah, a certain percentage, definitely. And then I think another percentage of it might just be due to the fact that I think their goal from the beginning was to do that, but they were smart enough not to lay it on too heavy too soon. I think if you went straight to like they earn basically the emotional payoffs in this show. They know that they have to earn them. They don't just jump straight to it. They give you lots of hints to give you context and understanding, and while they do that, they entertain you with sort of comedy and light-hearted, silly plot lines. And then when it gets real serious and quite dramatic, you're more engaged and you're more ready to take that on, I think. Whereas if you started with some of the more dramatic episodes, you've already had a hint that Steven's mother essentially gave her life up to make Steven happen. Yeah. Now, that, as you'll remember in that episode, it's kind of glossed over. They don't really... The hint of that drama is there, but they don't really deal with that. So again, it's smart, because it's like it's giving us the context so we understand what happened without actually like going into full-on, drama mode. And I think that's good, because I think what you do there is for adults you give them context to feel it more powerfully when it does come, and for kids you're giving them like an easy sort of entryway into more complex storytelling. So it's like, look, it's all fun, and we're gonna drop these little hints about something being a little bit more sort of thoughtful further down the line, and a bit more emotional maybe, and a bit more self-aware, and it becomes that naturally. The brilliant thing, of course, about the show is that does perfectly blend with Steven's maturing as the show goes on. So I think it's like, I don't know if I'd say it's one part each. I think it's clever. I think it's clever writing and clever concept selection, because I think they wanted to do that anyway, and it just worked perfectly with this idea of Steven learning. Because you'll notice a lot of the themes at the moment are Steven doesn't seem to be very capable of being a gem, and they're very protective of him. And I'm sure you can guess that a lot of the show is going to be along the lines of him learning to be more
which
capable.
is interesting from a point of view of where does it go? Like, does he just become completely capable? Is there still a show when that point happens? I don't know.
Well, I mean, can you ever become like truly sort of? Can you ever become truly sort of like? Okay, there's always something to learn. No one's ever met. You know what I mean? It's that's what's great about it as well. Is he might become more functional and more capable to the point where he can look after himself, and then the gems aren't as worried about him anymore. But then there's a whole new set of things you can do where you can throw bigger and bigger problems at him and see if he can rise to those challenges. All right, he's met the challenge of basically, you could say, at a certain point he'll meet the challenge of being worthy of being a gem, where Garnet, Pearl, and Amethyst don't want to look after him quite as much as they do. But then you're in a situation where it's like, oh great, well now you just throw a bunch of challenges at him and see if he can meet those, and keep pushing that up and giving him more and more reason to evolve and grow and learn. And again, that's part of the beauty of the show. He constantly is learning, and I think that's, again, it's such a great format for just like really interesting storytelling and really great sort of emotional plots. But what I'm really loving at this point is that I think you are starting to, while you're not at the point of, what my girlfriend refers to as one more ep, where she'll start chanting at the TV when, Netflix is doing that thing where the credits of the previous one is going, it gives you 15 seconds. And you've essentially, it's like Ed 209 from RoboCop going, you have 15 seconds to comply, 40, 30, and you can choose whether to watch the next episode or not. Basically, if she's not saying anything, we're stopping. But if she's going, one more ep, we're watching the next episode. Ep. Like episode.
Oh, ep, right. Yeah.
One more ep. So, like, I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cold as well, so I'm wondering if that's stifling my my pronunciation. But I know you're not quite at the point yet where you're absolutely eager to get more and more of it in, but I think you have, and in a weird way, it's kind of impressive. Within 5 episodes, the show has gotten you to a point where you're quite happy to watch it. You're enjoying it.
I've grown fond of it, yeah.
Yeah, and that's really remarkable, actually, considering where we were 5 episodes ago, when you were just like, fucking, what was this?
I was not happy.
No, I know, and I'm liking that you're getting more and more into it, and I think that's great. I think as we go forward, we'll see more and more of see more and more of the show sort of winning you over with little bits and bobs, to the point where you'll be where I am now, which is like, every time an episode airs, I'm just like, when's the next one? When is the next one?
Yeah. And I think that's definitely possible.
And that's 4 seasons in, and I'm still desperate for more content. Like, I know the next episode from our recording point here. The next episode to be released for me is going to be the 10th of February, and I absolutely cannot wait. I've seen the title of it in the description, and I cannot wait to see what they do with that episode. It's so exciting to me, and to think that there is no other show I can think of currently that's 4 seasons in that I'm that excited about.
Yeah, that's fair.
Literally no other show. So yeah, 10 points to the writers. I've rambled on a lot this week. Sorry.
That's all right. Nice contrast to my zombie-like state.
There you go. Chris is in a zombie-like state, so Dan's filling in. Okay, so I think that is everything for this week. We'll be back next week for and I fear what the next episode might be, because I feel like if you're ever going to take regression. I don't know, actually. I'll give you a hint for next week. Steven's dad comes back.
Okay. I like Steven's dad.
No, so do I, very much. That's why I'm torn, because it's an odd episode, a very odd episode, but it has got Steven's dad, who's always a catalyst for good storytelling. So I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but I'll tell you the episode's title is Cat Fingers.
Oh, Jesus. No food.
Cat Fingers?
Yeah, it could be cookie cat fingers or some shit like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'll let you deal with that how you want to. I'll let you assume what you want to assume about that, and we'll obviously come back together, reconvene in a week or two, whenever we do these. Details still undecided by us in the past, and we'll have a chat. So yeah, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you then.